Welcome back, guys, to another episode of Dragon Speed Shop. So today, I guess we're going to start working on the cab. We'll get back to the front suspension. I've got to reconfigure some things, and I'll show you the changes that I do to that. But for now, we're going to start on the cab of the truck. First thing we're going to do is cut this big gaping hole out of the roof. The guy's truck has I think it's a leather roof that we're going to put in here also afterwards, and then we're going to do a chop. So I hope you guys are ready, gals too. So let's get this started. I'm going to flip the camera around and I will be right back. Alright guys, so as you can see, I've got this kind of laid out with some fine line tape that what we're going to cut out of this roof. Easiest way for me to cut these out is using my good old Dremel. So hopefully this isn't too loud on the camera. So let's get this thing cut out. Easy as pie. We'll just take this nice and slow. Sorry about that. Well, there we go. Big huge hole cut in the roof. We'll get this hot plastic kind of out of the way. So I didn't cut, as you guys can see, I didn't cut right to the line. I like to kind of hand sand this back a little bit to make sure I'm happy with it, and kind of maybe round the corners a little bit. So easiest way for me is take a nail file and just run across this until we can get right to, oh, don't you love that sound, right to that line. So I'm going to get this done and I will be right back. Alright guys, so here we go. Big gaping hole, all nice and cleaned out. So let's get ready to chop this. You can see here, this is how much I'm going to chop. It's the same fine line that I used on this. It's a real mild chop. If I am correct, all he did was a 4-inch chop on the actual truck. So I've got the tape lined up. I know there's probably 100 different ways of chopping this. I'm trying to stay true to his truck on how he chopped his. He chopped his up towards the top of the roof, so I'm going to do the exact same. Traditionally, I may have went like dead middle of the two, between the door frame, the top of the door frame and the bottom of the door frame. Sorry. Just kind of laid out a line, got it where I'm really happy where it matches both sides. The way I'm going to chop this is using a string method to kind of show you guys how this works. I can find my string. This is just a blank piece of styrene. And this is just some sewing string. I really like this technique. It follows lines pretty well as long as you're careful. So easiest way, just sorry. If you take your X-Acto knife, just kind of scar a little line. That will that will give a place for your string to start. So get it in there, go slow to start, and then just move it back and forth. This bottom string you want to keep kind of straight up and down as much as you can. This top string is where you're going to follow. So I could actually take this now and we can run it down, and then I can turn and go this way. So as you can see, it created a nice little notch. There's not a super lot of cleanup, you know, between. Really, it's just kind of the melted plastic between the panels. So that's how I'm going to chop this top. Kind of hard to show because I've got to have this thing between my legs to hold it steady, and I don't think you guys want to see that. So take a short little break here. I'll get this chop done and be right back with you guys. Alright guys, so we have top half of the cab, bottom half of the cab, some glue in hand. So let's take a look at this. So if I get this thing lined up, everything lines up just beautifully. Sometimes you end up having to cut here or here to widen it or anything like that, but I guess I lucked out on chopping this one because everything lines up beautifully. That very minimal sanding is going to be involved to get all these lines and everything back together. So let's get this cab all glued together. So we'll start on one corner. Kind of give myself a little bit of a gap to get my brush in here. Set it down. Do the same here. Set it down. I'll get these pillars. When you're gluing cabs back together, you want to try to use very little glue when it comes to this, because you don't want a lot of glue kind of pressing out. You'll lose kind of some of your details within the cab and everything. So I've got a little bit of work time before this actually sets. I can move things around, everything like that. I'm pretty happy with the way that's sitting. I didn't quite get glued enough, so we'll pop this open. Smear a little more cement. Hold that for a couple seconds so it bonds really well. That one's set nice, and that one's set pretty nice. So now all I'm going to do is try to stay away from those details. And just dab a little bit of glue around this so it runs inside that joint, kind of seals up the sides. And we'll run on the inside of the cab, do the same thing, running across all these joints to make sure they are nicely welded together. Everyone's a little bit different. This is my way on how I chop. I've done 2 or 3 of them now, and this has always been good results for me. So take it with a grain of salt. Alright, so we can take kind of a closer look at this now. You can see everything lines up. We can get this dust out of here. Everything lines up pretty well. That very minimal sanding with a file in here and stuff like that to actually get this cab sitting where it should. So I will get that all done for next time. We'll finish up the front suspension, and then we will probably start working on the floor pan for the cab. Maybe work on the hood of getting that thing to actually open. What we're going to end up doing is making so this will have a hinge here, this will have a hinge, so when the whole hood opens, it opens like it properly should. So we'll see what I feel like. But until next time, this is Dragon Speed Shop, and I'm out of here. Hope you guys enjoyed.